When War of the Worlds landed in 2005, the world stopped. Steven Spielberg directing Tom Cruise in an alien apocalypse thriller? It was lightning in a bottle. Explosions, panic, and a dose of humanity that only Hollywood could deliver. But what happened to the stars after the smoke cleared? 2 decades later, their journeys are just as dramatic as the invasion itself. Back then, Tom Cruise was untouchable, the golden boy of Hollywood. He'd already conquered the box office with Mission Impossible, and War of the Worlds was supposed to be the cherry on top of a flawless career. But while Ray Ferrier was fighting aliens on screen, Cruise was fighting headlines off it. Remember the infamous Oprah couch-jumping moment? The whirlwind romance with Katie Holmes? The Scientology chatter that never seemed to fade? 2005 was supposed to be his victory lap, but it turned into one of the most talked-about years of his life. Still, Tom Cruise didn't just survive, he rewrote the playbook. Over the years, he transformed controversy into endurance, launching blockbuster after blockbuster. The Mission Impossible films became his legacy. Top Gun Maverick resurrected his global dominance. And by 2025, at 63, Cruise is still hanging off helicopters, scaling mountains, and somehow looking as youthful as ever. Rumor has it he's planning one last Mission Impossible filmed partly in orbit, because of course he is. As for his personal life, since his quiet divorce from Holmes, romance has been a mystery, though insiders whisper about a low-key relationship with a European actress. He's still Hollywood's daredevil prince, unstoppable, unpredictable, and undeniably iconic. From Cruise's chaos, we move to the bright-eyed little girl who melted audiences' hearts, Dakota Fanning. Just 11 at the time, she stole every scene as Rachel, the terrified daughter clinging to her dad amid destruction. Spielberg himself called her a once-in-a-generation talent, and he wasn't wrong. While most child stars crash under fame, Dakota did the opposite. She grew quietly, intentionally, and with poise. In the years that followed, she traded studio sets for classrooms, graduating from NYU before re-emerging with more mature, haunting performances. Fast forward to 2025, and the little girl screaming through alien mayhem has become one of Hollywood's most refined leading women. At 31, Dakota carries an elegant calm, starring in dark thrillers, producing her own indie hits, and stealing red carpets with minimalist power suits and that signature icy confidence. She runs a production company now, and, according to whispers, is developing a futuristic survival film said to echo her War of the Worlds roots. Fans call it her grown-up revenge arc, proof that brilliance doesn't fade, it evolves. And while Dakota found balance, her on-screen brother Justin Chatwin took a wilder route. In 2005, he was the scrappy teen with attitude, a perfect foil to Tom Cruise's frantic dad. Hollywood loved him, critics called him one to watch, and for a moment it looked like he'd be everywhere. Then came Dragon Ball Evolution, a flop so big it almost ended his career before it truly began. But Hollywood loves a comeback story, and Justin built his from the ground up. He shifted to television, finding his rhythm in Shameless and Another Life. By the mid-2020s, he'd become a steady favorite on streaming platforms, known for his grounded charm and quiet intensity. These days, he's directing small indie projects, traveling the world, and dedicating himself to environmental causes. Social media dubs him the eco-friendly action star, a far cry from the hot-headed teen we met in 2005. Sometimes the rebellion pays off, just in a different way. And then there's Tim Robbins, Hollywood royalty long before aliens ever landed. As the unhinged survivalist Harlan Ogilvy, Robbins brought a chilling unpredictability to the film. After War of the Worlds, though, he pulled a classic Hollywood pivot. Rather than chase blockbusters, he stepped behind the camera and into activism. He founded his own theater company, spoke out on political issues, and focused on music. Yes, music, performing with his folk band and experimenting with spoken word storytelling. In 2025, Robbins stands as one of Hollywood's true mavericks, less interested in red carpets and more in art that matters. His silver hair and sharp wit have made him a favorite on late-night talk shows again, where he's often the voice of reason in an industry obsessed with youth. While he's no longer headlining summer blockbusters, his creative influence runs deep, and he seems perfectly content with that. Meanwhile, Miranda Otto, who played Cruise's ex-wife Marianne, has aged with quiet grace and power. Fresh from her Lord of the Rings fame, War of the Worlds showcased her in a grounded, emotional role, balancing the chaos with calm humanity. After that, Otto shifted her focus to prestige television, making waves as the sophisticated and slightly sinister Aunt Zelda in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. That role reminded the world that Miranda could dominate any screen, big or small.
In 2025, she's a mainstay of both Australian and international cinema, blending art house projects with mainstream success. Married for nearly 2 decades and largely avoiding Hollywood scandal, Miranda's career is a study in elegance. The woman who mastered staying relevant without ever shouting for attention. Her style remains effortlessly classic: sharp silhouettes, neutral tones, and the occasional bold red gown that sends fashion blogs into meltdown. She may not be the tabloid's favorite subject, but she's Hollywood's quiet storm. And though his face never appeared on camera, the unmistakable voice that bookended the film, Morgan Freeman's, still echoes through the industry. In 2005, Freeman's narration gave War of the Worlds its gravitas, turning a sci-fi spectacle into something mythic. Already an Oscar winner and a living legend, he was the voice of authority, the conscience of the movie. 2 decades later, that voice remains his signature, narrating everything from documentaries to AI apps, bringing wisdom wherever it goes. But not even Morgan Freeman escaped controversy. In 2018, allegations of inappropriate behavior cast a shadow over his public image. While no charges followed, the incident tempered his once impenetrable aura. Still, at 88, he continues to work, mentor young filmmakers, and lend his reputation to humanitarian causes. He's become Hollywood's philosopher, still commanding, still unshakably cool, and still the sound of cinematic truth. Taken together, the cast of War of the Worlds mirrors the story they told. Ordinary people caught in extraordinary circumstances, each forced to survive in their own way. Tom Cruise turned controversy into longevity. Dakota Fanning transformed from prodigy to powerhouse. Justin Chatwin rebuilt from the ground up. Tim Robbins turned his fame into art. Miranda Otto found quiet perfection in consistency, and Morgan Freeman remained the timeless voice of reason through it all. The world may have been under attack back in 2005, but 20 years later, it's clear. The real evolution happened not in the skies, but in Hollywood itself. These stars didn't just survive the invasion, they outlasted it. And if you loved seeing how their lives transformed off-screen, make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell, because we've got even more Then and Now Hollywood deep dives coming your way. You won't want to miss the next one.